Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Welcome back to the show. We are joined once again by Katie Z. Yes, that's KAYTEEZEE.com. Yes, Ms. Zitterbart, what do you have for us today? She's our mental health counselor. We're excited.
I know, mental health cast. Can I tell you, Ms. Jill Nicolini, I have a very, very big ass fucking degree from Carnegie Mellon University in a really big important field called critical theory. And it uses all kinds of big words like semiotics and ontology and all this shit. And when I tell people I was early at Yahoo, they think I was the gal at the beginning of the store. He would say, here, come over here.
Of course.
Which makes sense because when you went to Yahoo in the 90s.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
This is how we presented it it was all done on purpose. And the way that we are, this matters because we are now, my invention just fell apart. It matters because we're using the internet as the conduit now. There's a concept, because I unmasked my autism while I was doing the whole not dying thing. So there's a concept called parallel play that I learned about that a lot of neurodivergent humans use. We also use something now, I just thought that was what my friends and I did, called body doubling. This is something that we've had to do. This is also like the whole digital physical space. So for a lot of people who experience what gets labeled executive dysfunction, where we just kind of like lose our it's all about orientation, not orientation, who do I want to shtup? Orientation, how am I navigating, right? So it is a dimensional thing. And thanks to my big brain Carnegie Mellon thing, what I can tell you is when we were deciding how we would guide you to wherever you ended up, we were asking questions about philosophy and ethics because I was one of the first humans on the planet to look at media as a vehicle for purchase, as the reason that you make as a buying decision. Sure. I am one of the people, the humans on the planet. This is me. I've been trying to talk to the fucking scientists, Jill. I got all the paper and they look at me and they're like, oh, she's weird. She's just doing, I'm like, yeah, why do you think I'm weird? Because I actually know how this shit works. Mm-hmm. Here's the problem. It is a actual problem, and it is a problem that is, if I did not know the workaround, I would be dead. If I did not have this concept, I would be dead. If I did not understand how to discern, I would be dead. This is what I mean by if I needed to, and I finally got to, it's the ontology. It's my relationship to the concept of power and how things connect. Because what I was trained in at the graduate level at Carnegie Mellon University, which, by the way, I passed out of my freshman year in cognitive science, but yes, I'm the weird ass fucking yoga person. What we did, what we knew for sure, what I learned at Carnegie Mellon and all of the philosophy I studied came out of World War II.
Whoa.
All of the philosophy that I studied at Carnegie Mellon University was in response to genocide, was in response to death. And they're all thinking like systemically big, and when we speak, I have all these big, you're like, where is this woman's head? It's not in the clouds. I'm like a hawk.
Mm-hmm. She's above it.
This is why I said, oh, not everybody in the world has been blessed with inner blindness and tactile synesthesia. You just can't map it to your body like I do. So I made you a present, Jill. It's called the Mindset.
Thank you.
I'll get to you eventually. It is a magic box. It's a whole fucking universe system of reality. And I am the goddess of ontology. And I operate in this system. This is going to make the bridge to the body because you're like, who's this crazy lady? This is the bridge. In Chinese medicine, the concept is Shen. I'm holding a little, it looks like a smashed little man. I just made him real shiny, so it'd be exciting. This was a gift from my mother. This is one of the 8 immortals. of Taoism. My mother gave this to me when I've been carrying these around. I don't fucking know.
Wow.
I operate symbolically because I know there's a point at which it is impossible to keep something tangible or intangible without some kind of magic. And then I was like, well, how do I know that, Jill? Because there's only two rules. The Tao that can be named is not the Tao. So we're not going to use labels.
Mm-hmm.
First, make it real.
Okay.
That's the ontology of thought. So when we were at Yahoo, this is for the grown-ups, not for the kids. But when you're talking to your kids, this is yoga, okay? So this is student, teacher, me helping you. This is, I can do this to 7, but we operate in 3 and there's enough. The imagination aspect, I am invoking the Shen because, hey, guess what? Nobody owns the Shen, so nobody can accuse me of whatever the fuck. However, this equals catalyst. This equals invention. This equals point of sale. This equals overriding. What is my, like, I might have the best intent. You might have the best intent, but that asshole in the corner who has really all the power, it doesn't matter. And there is a way that I believe, because of my big fancy brain and all this shit, and also the fact that the scientists refuse to let me sit at the table, despite me being able to say this is evidence-backed, because they needed to be evidence-based. And here's the thing.
Oh, evidence-backed, evidence-based. Okay.
If you go to any of the world religions, so you have received your thing and you're like, how do I get from infinity to fancy pants? This is a yoga pose. This is a person. We're going to make this together. What Jill is looking at right now is basically a 4-pointed star. It's like an unfolded,
like an origami.
an unfolded pyramid, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
In Chinese magical medicine, the Shen lives inside the organ or inside the whatever.
Shen lives. I'm writing
But
this down.
this is very cool. If I want the medicine to work with me, for me, I only exist as an idea in this. So the earth is me. If the magical alchemistry is to work in the environment, is to be external, my Shen in here becomes an actual human person. So when we center, because they all center the earth, all of Asia, everything you hear about 4 cardinal directions, all of this has to do with how people relate to Soma. Earth is Soma.
Oh my God, we're doing cardinal directions with my 3rd grade right now. It's
right?
one of his vocabulary words.
Shen, just as an idea, what the ontological fancy pants, this is semiotics, this is all the information, this is all software architecture, but thanks to the weird brain of Katie, we can deconstruct thought, architect Soma, use one bridge. Now, why does Katie think the Shen will work? Because there's a very nice psychiatrist at the University of Oxford who she emailed, of course, because none of the scientists will talk to me. I bet the flipping Oxford people will. She's a psychiatrist who uses the concept of Shen to help doctors understand the power dynamic between them and their patient. And I have been using the concept of Shen as an unmasked 9 neurotype, how the fuck am I alive human, to understand my relationship to power. And so the mindset is me. You get a whole big toy. Okay. It opens up. I'm telling you, Jill, I don't understand these people who say they can just make something up and then show I need a reason.
Oh, I love it.
So you open it up. I have myth, I have magic, I have costumes. You're like, what is this? I don't know. It's so amazing.
You're so fun. I love you. I wish you lived closer. I wish I had time to have a friend. Go ahead.
Well,
So
you know what? Now that I'm back to being the goddess of ontology, I don't need to be And what's really where I get angry about this and very passionate is this is part of the barrier for people to access this is to the synthesis of value is tiny. You only need to know a couple of things. But what you need to know is how to navigate. And then Katie, the big brain goes, well, how is the world going to understand that? Because Katie, the mystic, totally gets it. Thank you, platonic solids.
Yeah.
Now you have your kid. Now we're thinking, and we're playing, and this is also, by the way, my friend who I told you came from New Zealand to help me have my mastectomy, operated in this is all my story of cancer, by the way, because I can only, and we're doing it through the lens of the phone.
Okay.
See, what happens with semiotics and information architecture, which we have lost. Edward Tufte is a very famous data visualizing expert who was one of my mentors very long ago. We get lost. He calls it getting off of flatland, the visual display of information. But what has happened digitally is we have become merged with the media because the culture of, I'm calling it location of home, has been lost because now it's location of self. That isn't bad. It's not wrong. I believe it's contributing to what people are experiencing as microaggression, as appropriation, as all these things, because the pundits don't understand that this media is being consumed as medicine. If there is a disrupting force, the power of the Shen, mystical, magical, mystical, I don't even know what it needs to mean for you. If there is a disruption, what all the cult deprogrammers are trying to bring people forward into a bigger mind, a bigger frame of mind. At Yahoo, we knew that there, see these types behind me?
Yeah.
So at Yahoo, I know the world can't see, but that's okay because we're just doing it this way today.
That's fine.
This is a glass pyramid I'm holding up.
Yep.
The tip of the pyramid is you. This is you and me meeting in digital space. This is like, is that, what is that? The Louvre where they have the
Louvre in France. Yep.
Every action has an equal and opposite refraction. It's this is fractal. So stay with me because see, so now let's pretend like do you see how it's now pointing?
Yep.
If your mindset is that I'm a problem, that's one thing. This is Earth. This is Soma, the base of the pyramid.
Okay.
If your mindset centers Soma, do you see what that does to the power dynamic? It makes it a little bit less awful because now there's room.
Yeah.
With human people, when we talk about connecting and we talk about the melting and we talk about the sex and all the things, what we're not talking about, what we think we're talking about, as far as I've been able to understand it, since I've been a student of human sexuality for 35 years, I believe, because we're centering the person from a platonic solid perspective, we're turning into one of these deals. Is this the octahedron? I don't know the platonic solids. It's so consistent.
Okay.
If we want to be connected, though, connection looks like a Merkaba. It's when the synthesis, when the spirit of the Shen is so in sync that the directionality of all the poison arrows, this is what they would call it in Feng Shui, if we were in physical space, it disappears. It gets disrupted to the point of neutral. This is what the Tao's call Wu Wei. This is Tao. Tao isn't about one or the other, this or that. It is about, now that I've had the experience of resolving a nervous breakdown, and I have felt it consciously come back online, it is my relationship to the idea of body that got me back.
Wow.
And my mother, thankfully, put me in front of Taoist texts when I was young enough that I have been contemplating this most of my life. I'm now learning this is an unusual way to orient. It's unusual. It's an artistic mindset. I now have the Shen in front of me, my head, and here's a little thing behind me.
Okay.
There are three things going on, always. And so how we think about how this operates matters, because no matter what, you and I are always going to be white women. No matter what, I am always going to have hidden disabilities, no matter what. And you know what? That's okay. Because if we can learn what I'm calling it, sense of bum, the first healing sound of Chinese medicine, the first Shen, is the Po. And this is the Shen. This is the channel in Chinese medicine that crosses the midline. This is where I was cut off this was the collapse of my vagus nerve, was in this channel in my body. If I had been like, I'm just going to regulate my nervous system and make sure and all this, I would be dead. If I knew that what they're talking about is homeostasis, because I have the big brain, right? Why should everybody have to learn that, Jill? That's not fair. I'm angry about it. So let's make art. And I can assure you, this is so evidence-based that the idea of it strikes terror. Terror at the heart. Terror. Oh my gosh. It's Pandora's box.
Literally, yeah.
It is. So the way I see it operating is you get a box. It'll be pretty. Because we do sound, you'll get bowls, so we can play with bowls.
Okay.
We got to get to the Merkaba.
That's what you said, Merkaba?
From nothing. From infinity, from this mirror. How are we gonna do it?
Mix it up.
We do parallel play and have conversations. And then the practice is the creative napping. How political, how specific, how charged we want the conversation to be, because this is contemplation. This is a cognitive tool. We then, because I'm a goddess of ontology, and we operate on the field of moral neutrality because I'm God and I can just declare that. By the way, that's how we made all the decisions at Yahoo.
Wow.
As morally neutral and ethically accurate, the best we could. And the first most important thing we did was locate home. And home was always Soma first, person or location. And if we couldn't, then we would default to the institution, because I was like, hey, motherfuckers, there's money. And they were like, yep, there's money. And we were like, we don't want to make it go away. It's a disruption. And the operating on three, Tao operates on three. Principle of three is so hyper. It's all over medicine. The concept is very, very consistent. And literally getting so confused in the head. But that's okay, because we're in my universe. And everything that I'm doing is protecting you, because this is everything that worked for me, despite the science. Despite, not because. And I can give evidence, because every fucking one of them, I'm angry about this. I sat in a room last week with a therapist who has known me for 10 years, has seen this happen. There is no malice at all, Jill, no malice. She and some psychiatry fellows were discussing the low functioning ones in the group homes. I am that population. I am disabled. I am autistic. I have experienced a nervous breakdown. But I mean, like, I was split. My Shen, I could tell you where it was in space. My somatics are, this is why I'm alive, Jill, because I've been an undiagnosed autistic. I don't understand the world. I don't know my mother gave me the idea of self. And then I watched my parents operate as though this mattered. Even though it was all fucked up in the house, my dad died 27 and all that shit. At the end of the day, at the core, and when I watched children with my parents, when I watched this, they center Soma, not the music, Soma, my teacher who I helped her husband die. That was one of the three elders I lost in 14 months before my move to LA, before that abuse. This all started because of death, because of lineage. And so what I'm now wanting the world to be able to access, because I have all the fucking science and none of them are going to let me.
You were saying about the low functioning.
Oh my God, how horrible.
How could
okay,
so that's even a term, and they're probably higher functioning than any of us, but that's
or how about high support
classify them.
It's the difference between function and support. And my surprise in that room was, first of all, I was just being pointed out, oh, she's autistic. Oh, shut up. And I was like, I thought I'm a somatics person. I thought I was there because I successfully went into the underworld and came back. I was there to be a token. This is not malice at all. This is misunderstanding. This is being conditioned by those pillars without having the understanding of how to disrupt the thought process. Mm-hmm. And I think also for neurodivergent humans, this will be very useful because a lot of us lack something that's called interoception, or sometimes it gets called alexithymia with what is your feeling? What is your this? And it's, listen to all of those words. Totally get it. How do I relate to the idea of, this is that cognitive tool where they're always asking you to have some distance, and then they want you to do it in your mind. No. We need a bridge. I was cognitive science, human computer interaction at the very beginning. You need a bridge. And now that the bridge isn't happening through, what's the word people like to use now? That fucking curation. I love how that everybody adopts the words too. So the rules are, the Tao that can be named is not the Tao. First, make it real. Step one, get off of flatland. And we do that with a piece of paper. Aww. So that was a huge, big, giant, I was screaming. I hope I wasn't yelling. I'm just very excited about this, Jill.
I see that. I love that.
I overwhelmed you, I'm sure. I know I was effing the whole time too.
That's okay. I love it. I love your honesty. I love your being. I love your essence. It's just so real. It's so natural. It's so awesome.
Well, but
I'm learning a lot. I wrote down some words that I'm not sure about how to spell, like Tao, which
you know what? I got to tell you, I am keeping those in purposefully for the confusion.
Okay, good.
Because I think when we use words like I'm using taxonomy instead of hierarchy, because a taxonomy is just a way to categorize.
Okay.
The hierarchy happens with the ontology. That happens with how we connect things through power, through dynamics in the body. We call that tensegrity. So it's mirrored also in science and in the body. And the Shen becomes the bridge. That's as close as I've gotten, but I think that's pretty good so far since,
I love it.
That's what I think. So next time I should have a business plan ready and you can help me find financing.
Deal.
Like to survive. This is I'm going to profit from this. Absolutely. And the world will benefit. And it's going to be 100% transparent.
I love it.
I'm not holding, I don't believe I have been, if anybody, I can't ethically give people the actual courses that I've paid for, but I can provide what I have learned in context. And this way, at a minimum, if you want to teach your kids some yoga, from a very simple, like this idea, you will have everything you need to be able to do that, guided by safety, by the ethics of medicine, and by actual yoga lineage. That's all I can promise. And I can tell you that I've done everything I can to make this wrong. And it keeps being so right, it doesn't fit anywhere else, which is me. So we're going to have so much fun.
Well, thank you so much. Pleasure
Thank
always
you.
having you here. Always having fun with you. Remind us how we could reach you.
Kayteezee. Website makes a lot more sense today than it did yesterday, and things are continuing. And if I'm still kind of in this place, maybe we'll take a week off and regroup in a week. But all of this happens because you do this. You turn a strip into a Mobius. Just
beautiful.
And
you are so super intelligent. It's like baffling. I'm like, this woman, you're just full of amazing intelligence, energy. And
we're getting off of flatland. That's all we have to do.
Soma.
Self.
Soma. Earth. Yes. Got it.
Sense of bum.
You thank you. I still have that. I have that part. I'm learning from you. Thank you. And I hope everyone else is too. Merkaba. Right. I wrote down some words here that I'm trying to remember.
Don't even.
Okay. Okay.
Just spirit.
Yeah. Okay.
It's
perfect.
Spirit of.
Perfect.
This is the spirit of the law. This is the letter of the law.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Katie. Thank you.
Okay.
Katie, Z,
bye.
thank you.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.